Welcome back, everyone. My name is Steele, and I'm glad to present to you my own creation. Please like, share, and subscribe. It would help a small writer keep her dream alive. I want to give a thank you to my Shay, who always lights my way. Thank you. It's looking like Anarchy by Steele. Chapter 11. Worser and Worser. The door flew open with a violent bang. Two men stepped in, rifles slung low, eyes empty. They didn't speak, just motioned with the barrels of their guns for us to move. We all stood one by one. We got to our feet, sore and slow. The buzz of the overhead light faded behind us as we were herded down a narrow hallway and into the daylight. I squinted against the brightness. Outside was a clearing ringed by trees, hemmed in by makeshift fencing and rusted vehicles. Long plastic tables stretched across the gravel, already filled with people. Dozens of them. Maybe 50. Maybe more. All with the same hollow looks. All got caught up like me. We were led to the back of the crowd and handed styrofoam trays. Beige mush. Watery grey meat. A scoop of something that might have been potatoes once. It tasted like nothing. How did it come to this? Less than a day ago, I was laughing with Camila and Mercedes over fake golf and overpriced drinks. The world was bright and bustling. Now I was here, eating colourless prison food in the woods, surrounded by armed men and silence. Then he appeared, like a bad omen. A man climbed onto a pallet stage flanked by guards, his suit stained with sweat and sanctimony. His potbelly stretching the fabric taut, face sagging under the weight of false charm. The kind of man who smiled at funerals and called it the plan of God.
Brothers and sisters,
He called out, arms raised like he was at a tent revival.
you have been chosen, saved from the rot of the world. You will find order here. You will find purpose. You have been saved.
It wasn't a speech. It was a sermon wrapped in razor wire. I got caught by another fucking church.
You'll work. You'll obey. And in time, you'll see this is the Lord's design.
From the crowd, a voice cracked through the stillness. Why did you kidnap us? A young man shaking but loud. Why are we here? The preacher paused, frowning for a millisecond, his lips twitching. A guard raised his gun. The shot rang out like thunder. The man fell hard and didn't make another sound. Screams broke out. Some dropped their trays and ran from the plastic tables. Others backed away in stunned silence. Gruel everywhere. The preacher didn't flinch.
Chaos.
He said.
Is that what you've come from? Discipline is what you'll find here. In this sanctuary, you will be safe. You will build community, and this will become a beacon of light and power in the new world. You will be reborn.
Silence pulsed across the clearing. Not safe, not salvation. Control. My hands clenched under the table, fingers curling around the flimsy plastic fork like it was a weapon. It wasn't, but I wanted it to be. Wanted something to fight back with. I looked at the others. Most wouldn't even meet my eyes. We were ghosts, all of us. Caught between the world we lost and whatever nightmare this was. I wanted to scream, to fight, to run. But I swallowed it down. This wasn't about strength anymore. This was about survival. Learning the terrain, watching, waiting. Because if they thought I was going to pray at their fake altar and call it deliverance. A woman climbed the pallet beside him, tall, with overly teased brown hair and a bright floral dress. His wife, maybe, or his handler. Her voice was syrupy and sharp.
You will eat, you will sleep, you will follow rules,
she said, smiling like a pastor's wife at a potluck. Like she hadn't helped kidnap us.
and if you behave, you'll be fine. Misbehavior, though.
She trailed off, glancing at the man's body like it was nothing.
Well, y'all saw what happened?
The crowd rippled, panic and disbelief tightening like a noose. I stood frozen, fingers clenched around the tray, hunger gone. I'd elbowed a man in the face. I'd pulled a trigger. I'd gotten this far. But now? Now I was in a place where questions got you killed. Damn.
Get that mess cleaned up.
The preacher's wife snapped, her syrupy tone gone sharp.
And someone drag him off. We don't need flies.
The guards sprang into motion. One kicked the body with a boot, rolling it onto its stomach before yanking it by the arms. It left a slick trail of red across the gravel. A few people gagged. A woman next to me started quietly sobbing into her tray. "Stand up!" a guard barked. They began sorting us. Rows of shouting and gun pointing, herding people into different clusters like cattle. Some were marched toward a clearing to the left, others toward a sagging barn or what looked like old trailers. I ended up in a group of about 10. I made eye contact with a woman about my age. She looked rough, dirt smeared on her cheeks, her braids messy and tangled, one eye bruised.
"You good?"
she whispered as we walked. I nodded, barely. "Not really, you,"
"Not even close.
she said.
But I got a plan."
We were led past a makeshift shed where other prisoners were hauling crates, digging shallow trenches or stacking supplies. Survival work, forced labor. It hit me then. They were building something big, preparing for permanence. One girl in our group looked like a teenager, pale, shaking. She leaned toward me as we walked. They're turning this into a camp. A real one. Walls, patrols, schedules. Another man, tall and lean with a broken nose, added quietly, "If we don't get out now, before they're fully set, we won't at all." The words were barely out of his mouth when yelling erupted near the tree line. I turned just in time to see 2 people break away from another group, bolting into the woods, arms pumping hard. "Runners!" someone screamed. Gunfire exploded like popcorn. I flinched. Screams. Dust kicked up. Bodies falling. Then crying, sobbing screams. They didn't make it 10 feet. The guards laughed. Laughed. One even clapped another on the back, like they'd won a game.
Let that be your sermon.
The preacher's wife called out.
We're your shepherds now, and the woods ain't freedom. They're a grave. Best fall in line.
The crowd quieted again except for the painful sobs of a woman in a knit green cardigan who had curled in on herself. The fear was thick enough to choke on. We were marched back, but not to the same room. New building, different shape. Inside were new faces. Some of the old ones were gone. Maybe sorted elsewhere, maybe worse. I sat on the floor. A guard locked the door behind us. Someone coughed. Another whispered a prayer. The woman leaned in. "They don't know what they're doing yet," she said low. "They're still figuring it out." "That means it's our only shot," I whispered back. A man in the corner nodded slowly. "We won't get a second chance." Another voice from the dark. "If we wait, we die here." Silence fell, but it wasn't hopeless. It was hope, the kind that grows in the shadows, slow and dangerous. I looked around at the faces, bruised, bloodied, angry. Kaori rubbed her wrist, where the plastic zip tie had left a raw welt. Her voice dropped to a whisper, steady but tight.
We need to know who we are,
she said.
If they're going to try to erase us, we hold on tighter. Names, stories. That's the first resistance.
No one spoke at first. Then a woman near the back, tall, older, with silver streaks in her locks, nodded. "I'm Geneva," she said softly. "Used to teach history. Atlanta." One by one the others followed. "Marcus," said the man with the broken nose. "Warehouse manager, Winston-Salem." "Layla," whispered the pale teenager. "Was driving to see my mum in Savannah. Didn't make it." "Ricky, construction, Charlotte."
Kaori,
she said next, squaring her shoulders.
I bartended in Maryland. I dance sometimes too. Been through some shit, but I'm still standing.
Eyes turned to me. "I'm Melody," I said. "Came from Chester. I was trying to get to my family's land. Didn't think it'd end up like this." It was quiet again. Not heavy, reverent. Geneva placed a hand on her chest. "They want us afraid, but we're still people. That matters." "We know who we are," I say. Kaori nodded. Someone near the door, a man with his leg wrapped in what looked like a torn shirt, added, "And when we leave this place, not if, but when, we remember who made it out together." I swallowed hard. We'll need more than names to get out. Kaori's eyes narrowed.
We've got names, we've got rage, and now we've got each other.
Outside, a guard's boots thudded past the door.
We outnumber them. We just have to find our moment.
Inside, we sat in a loose circle. Planners. No longer just waiting. We'd start watching more carefully, noting patrols, listening for cracks in the walls of this place. I'm not going to die here. Later in the evening, 2 guards walked us back out into the clearing as the sky turned purple with late sun. We moved in our small clumps, quiet, tired, playing the part of broken people. Inside, though, the plan was alive. We have to find an opening and try to get out of here somehow. Together, dinner was worse than lunch. A bowl of warm greyish vegetables. Half water, no salt. A spoon made of flimsy plastic. I didn't touch it. The guards stayed close. But there were less of them, noticeably so as I looked around to meet the eyes of our group. But they seemed to have noticed too. The guards paced lazily, glancing around the broken tables at the dwindled group of prisoners, straying further apart from each other. The young one, twitchy, sweaty, with a semi-auto he didn't know how to carry correctly, looked away to light a cigarette, leaving the gun hanging low on his thigh. Kaori stood first, grabbing her thin bowl of slop, then Geneva standing slowly. But it was Marcus who moved fast, grabbing the gun from the young one's side and cracking it against his skull in one clean swing. He dropped like a sack of bricks, cigarette still burning in the leaves. The second guard turned at the sound, hand rising to his holster. Too slow. Ricky kicked his legs out from under him, dropping an arm around his neck, dragging him down with a dull, cracking sound. They were caught before they could fire a shot. The entire clearing froze. Around 20 people and no one screamed. Just breath, sharp, fast. Now, I said, heart pounding. Now, we have to move. There wasn't a wall, just fencing, high, a maze of prefab buildings, old trailers, and stripped cars. Whatever this place used to be, junkyard, backwoods retreat, it had been repurposed into a nightmare. We moved fast, staying low, guiding some of the new prisoners we'd just met. I ran, Kaori moved beside me. That sharp calm she wore like armor. We ducked through a trailer that stank of gasoline, another with a caved-in roof and boxes of canned food inside. Then the rusted tall building, its hallway reeking of sweat and mildew. I slipped past a broken office door into a back room stacked with looted junk, bags, crates, a half-unzipped suitcase spilling someone's life. My bag, my duffel bag, stuffed under a dusty tarp. I dropped to my knees, heart pounding. The gas station snacks I'd taken were still there, crushed chips, a melted chocolate bar, protein bars, jerky, and beans. My knife is tucked in the side pocket. My solar radio and generator, scratched but intact, jammed next to water bottles and a personal tent, near a broken fan. I spotted a sturdier black book bag, better for running. I dumped everything in, food, a knife, a radio, a generator, a lighter, and a torn-up map. The duffel hit the floor behind me like a shed skin. Glass gleams and catches my eye. Glass bottles on a low shelf, some half full, dark. Whiskey maybe, didn't matter. I stuffed one under my arm and inside the bag, forcing the zipper shut. Then I grabbed another, yanked a strip from a dusty old shirt crumpled on the ground and stuffed it into the neck of the bottle. My hands moved fast as I threw it on the stolen supplies. This wasn't just escape. It was a warning. Down the back corridor, smoke already thick in the air, I passed a cluttered side room, paper maps, fuel cans, and faded election posters. Perfect. I struck the lighter again, held it to the cloth until it bloomed orange, then hurled the Molotov into the room. The explosion cracked like thunder. Flames licked up the walls. Smoke coiled into the rafters. They'd know I'd been there, that someone fought back against the bullshit. "Where's the road?" Layla asked, breathless, catching up around the side. Geneva pointed. "Find the edge of the fence. We'll find a break." Some others already went ahead. We slipped through an alley of stacked pallets and rusted drums. A gate. Not the main one. Smaller. Unlocked. Forgotten open. Freedom 10 steps away. We moved like ghosts. Into the trees. Not prisoners anymore. Not tonight. The woods were cold, but they weren't a cage. Chapter 12. Into the darkness. The trees swallowed us whole as we slipped through the underbrush, branches clawing at our clothes, scraping skin raw. Every step felt heavier, the weight of fear pressing down harder with each breath. I kept close to Kaori, her steady pace the only thing keeping me from falling apart. Around us the others moved like shadows, silent and tense. Eyes darting nervously into the gathering gloom. "We don't know where we are," Layla whispered, her voice trembling. "How far from the camp?" "No clue," Geneva answered, her voice low but steady. "Doesn't matter. We keep moving." The sun dipped behind the trees, the last streaks of gold vanishing as a cold settled over the forest floor. The temperature dropped fast, biting through thin shirts and jackets alike. My fingers, numb from the chill, tightened around the strap of the backpack, the Molotov burning a dull promise in my mind. Behind us, I thought I heard the distant crunch of boots on dry leaves, a reminder that we weren't alone. The thought sent a shiver deeper than the cold. "Are they following?" I asked, voice barely a breath. Kaori shook her head. "Maybe. Maybe not. Doesn't change what we have to do." We needed shelter. We needed warmth. And we needed a plan. As night crept in, the forest darkened until shapes blurred and every sound multiplied. The crack of a twig made us all freeze, hearts thudding loud in our ears. Geneva held up a finger, signaling for silence. "Keep moving," she whispered. "But stay close." We stumbled on, the path forgotten. Guided by instinct and desperation, I looked back one last time, the flicker of fire lost in the distance. The trees closed in tighter as we plunged deeper into the woods. Branches tore at my jacket and scratched my face, but I barely noticed. My lungs burned and every step felt like wading through quicksand. "Slower," I gasped, glancing back. Layla's pale face was ghostly in the fading light. She stumbled, catching herself on a tree trunk. I can't keep up," she whispered, voice breaking. "My legs, they're cramping." Layla shook her head, tears streaking dirt on her cheeks. "I'm scared. What if they catch us?" "Then we fight," Marcus said quietly from behind us. His voice sounded rough, like he hadn't spoken all day. "We don't let them take us back." I swallowed hard. The cold was settling deep in my bones, making my fingers stiff and clumsy. My pack felt heavier with every step, not just from supplies, but from the weight of hope and fear. If they catch us, they wouldn't take us back. Geneva's sharp eyes scanned the darkness ahead. "We have to find shelter soon," she said. "Exposure kills faster than bullets." "I don't know how much farther," Ricky muttered, dragging his foot. His breathing was ragged. I clenched my jaw. "We'll make it." A twig snapped sharply, and every head jerked toward the sound. The forest was alive with noises. Owl hoots, rustling leaves, but none felt natural anymore. "Maybe it's just a deer," Kaori said, but her voice was strained. Or maybe it's them, I said. Cold sweat mixed with the chill creeping through my clothes. My legs trembled, threatening to give out. Kaori's hand brushed mine. You okay? I nodded, but the truth was I wasn't. Not really. Not when every breath was a fire and every shadow could be death. Her mama's voice echoed in her head. Don't stop unless you have to. We slowed. Some of us fell behind, panting and limping. Layla collapsed against a tree, burying her face in her hands. Keep moving, Geneva urged gently. We'll rest soon, just a little more. I looked around at the faces, all worn, all scared, but still alive. Still moving. The night closed in, colder and darker, but we moved forward, toward freedom, toward whatever came next. We didn't find shelter. Eventually, after stumbling through brush and roots in the dark, we collapsed in a half-clearing beneath the tangled arms of a dead oak. No tents, no blankets, just the forest floor. Cold, damp, unforgiving. The wind never stopped. It whistled low through the trees, rattling branches like bones. We huddled together for warmth, but it didn't do much. The cold crawled under my skin and settled in my chest like ice. I don't know when I finally dozed off, but the dreams were sharp and restless. Fire, gunshots, my mother's voice calling my name from somewhere I couldn't reach. When I opened my eyes, the sky was pale grey. Mist hung low across the ground like breath. My muscles screamed, and my back felt like it had been beaten with a shovel. Kaori sat up near me, brushing leaves from her tangled hair. Ricky was curled in on himself, shivering. Geneva crouched beside Layla, who was coughing hard. Shit, Geneva muttered. I crawled over. Layla's skin was slick with sweat, her face pale and waxy. Her lips had taken on a bluish hue, and every breath rattled like gravel in her lungs. She's burning up, Geneva said quietly. Might be pneumonia. Layla tried to speak, but only another ragged cough came out. Her eyes were glassy. She'd taken the worst of the night. I opened my book bag with numb fingers and pulled out a half-full water bottle. Here. I tilted it to her lips. She drank weakly, then slumped back, exhausted. We need to move soon, Kaori said, voice low. But she's not gonna make it far. We can't leave her, Ricky said, his voice tight. No one's saying we do, I replied. But we need a plan. I unrolled the torn-up map from my bag and spread it on the ground. It was warped and smudged, but the roads and rivers were still legible. I pointed to where we probably were, north of Mount Gilead, somewhere in the Carolina woods. Look, I said. Eventually, we're not all going the same direction. The silence after that was thick. Everyone stared at the map, eyes heavy with the truth of it. Geneva exhaled. We were never meant to stay together forever. We got out. Together. That's already more than most. I'm heading southwest, Marcus said. My sister's out near Columbia. I have to know if she's okay. East, Kaori added. If I can make it to the coast, maybe I'll find a boat and get off the mainland. I looked down at Layla. Her breaths were shallow and weak. She can't move much now. Not yet. I hesitated, then said, "But if she gets stronger, maybe she could come with me." Kaori raised her eyebrows. "You sure?" I nodded. My family's land isn't much, but it's something. If we make it and it's still safe, she'd have a place. A shot. Layla stirred faintly at the sound of my voice. Her fingers curled weakly around mine. "She's young," I added, quieter now. "Still has a chance to live. I'm not leaving her out here." Kaori's face softened. "That's real," she said. "That's what family does, even the kind you find in the fire." We didn't have much left. Crushed chips, 2 protein bars, a bit of jerky. I passed what I could around, setting Layla's share aside. It wasn't enough, but it was something. We ate in silence, brushing dirt and pine needles from our clothes. Everyone was stiff, aching and cold. Layla coughed again, a wet, rattling sound that made us all flinch. I looked back down at the map. My finger traced a faded line, a back road snaking west toward a smudge that might have been a waterway or an old park. The markings were too torn to read. "We're near Lemon Springs," I said. "If we keep heading southwest, we might find a rail line. Or shelter. Something." "We keep moving," Geneva said, as I folded the map carefully. "We stay together until there's a real plan. We find shelter. We rest. We help Layla if we can. Then we figure out the rest." Marcus nodded. "Wandering off solo's a death sentence right now." Kaori stood, stretched with a wince, and brushed frost from her sleeves. Eyes open for smoke, power lines, anything that says people. Good or bad. I slung the pack over my shoulder. My legs protested, sore and cold, but I stood. We didn't know where we were really going, but we were going. Thank you for listening to Chapter 11 and 12. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Respectfully, let me know what you think. See you later.